This tour came together, and since I had the previous relationship with Madison, it was kind of always known that I was going to be coming on it. And because last year we did a tracks only show, there was obviously a lot of talk beforehand about how this was going to become a live show with a band and still maintain that same level of production. Patchworks is incredible. They take such good care of us. Their racks are some of the best built I've gotten to work on for sure. And it's been a great relationship, and we've started to kind of branch out and spec different gear that hasn't regularly been in their inventory that they've now been adding since we keep coming back to them and reusing it on other tours.
Everyone at Patchwork, all the project managers are engineers, and we know exactly how it should be packaged to make it efficient on the day when you're loading in and setting up. People are very used to having loads and loads of boxes, boxes for your RF, boxes for your stage rack, box for this, box for that. But I don't think it really should be like that. It should just be you roll in one case, plug in power, plug in connection to the console, and you're basically ready to go.
I'm driving 6 IEMs, so one for Madison, one for as a guest spare, one for the guitarist, one for the drummer. There's a tech line for all the stage techs to hear, and then the last one was the cue. Every room's a little different, but the biggest challenge has just been combating, we'll go from a club to a larger kind of theater like this, and then into an arena, so then the verb send ultimately is kind of sitting different each day depending on how noisy the room is and how much excess noise is coming back into the capsule for her. But overall, with the snapshots and the way I feel like we've built the file, it's made my job pretty consistent, easy day to day.
The mustard dynamics that have been added has really changed my workflow more than anything. Being able to put optical compressors on a lot of channels, that's definitely a go-to for me now. With the added spice rack, there's just a lot of consoles that I feel like have multi-band compression and EQ, but they don't do a lot, and you have to dig into them to hear anything. Whereas on this desk, I just start tickling those compressors, or I drop those dynamic compression bands in just a little bit, and you hear it, and it makes the difference.
One of the reasons that we chose the 225 was because of its easy integration with outboard gear. The outboard gear that we chose to use on this run is a bit of a bucket list for us. We were lucky enough to have an artist and a team that understood that we could gain a lot of value out of having some analog units. We're using 46 channels off the stage, majority of those being drums, playback channels, tech, talkbacks and stuff like that, and the playback system. I'm using the Waves platform as well to do some bus processing, but most of the stuff is done on board the DiGiCo. And from the busing, we're going out to the analog racks and then back through once again to hit the master bus. I'm not using too many instances of the spice rack as I'm using some of that stuff in Waves, but I did set it up initially so that if I had a Waves failure, for example, I would have backups. But a lot of the processing that's being done within the 225 is in the mustard strips.
For the last 3 years straight, I've almost exclusively been touring on DiGiCo. There's been a couple one-offs here and there with Avid, but I'll choose this over just about anything. I'd probably be pretty upset to walk up to a gig that wasn't DiGiCo nowadays. The majority of major festivals, this is the house desk everywhere. Maybe not the 225 exactly, but something in the DiGiCo ecosystem, having the ease of just being able to throw it in a converter and have my exact show file sound the exact same way on a different surface is kind of essential to me now. And it also helps my artists save money because we can rehearse and then use local desks. I'll get a Quantum 7 and I'll just hit convert, rebuild a couple layouts, and be good to rock. So that's definitely a huge asset to me as well.